My name's Hans Zoellner. I'm an experienced senior academic and I'm providing freelance academic services through my company, Strongarch. Now, academic work really comprises three main areas. There's teaching, research and service. In teaching, we're developing online educational content, but face-to-face teaching and guest lectures can be arranged on request. With regard to research, well, there's an active research program and you can learn a lot more about both teaching and research in Strongarch elsewhere on this website. With regard to Strongarch Academic Services as such, now that's a very broad area and it can include things like, for example, mentorship, provision of expert advice, conducting systematic and numeric analyses of data, structures and systems, development of reports, things like that. But in addition, it also includes support for academic integrity investigations, for example. Now, all Strongarch services are provided on a confidential basis, but I've got to say that there are circumstances when from an institutional perspective, there's a real advantage in having access to an experienced senior academic who is also demonstrably external and independent. Now, universities spring to mind as natural Strongarch clients, but in truth, we can support people from a wide range of quarters, and that's in keeping with my earlier experience prior to establishing this freelance service. Now, I can offer this very broad range of academic services because I have a very broad training and experience. I trained originally in dentistry. I worked as a country dentist for a few years. I then came back to university. I did a PhD. I then had a couple of post-doctoral positions. Then I came to the University of Sydney to pursue a traditional academic career. Along the way, I also got some experience in clinical oral pathology and anatomical pathology. Now, in the full extent of that 35-year period, I can say that I really did rise from the most junior rank of being a junior academic, a junior tutor in pathology, to ultimately being a full professor with a personal chair in oral pathology and head of discipline. And so I think it would be fair to say that I learnt about academia very much from the ground up. During that time, I also had a lot of different sorts of experiences in teaching. I've taught across a very wide range of tertiary education modalities, but also I've had experience in all the things that pack around that in order to deliver a university course. Things like curriculum development and implementation and review and accreditations and unit of study document, all those sorts of things I've had hands-on experience with. In terms of research, I've had very broad research interests and that's been great fun for me. I've run my own laboratory, so of course I've got experience again in all the things that are required for that to happen. And I think it's worth pointing out that my lifelong research experience has been a very special kind of training in its own right. Working across many different areas, I've frequently been forced to wrestle with different types of data, often quite difficult and complex data sets, and to perform structural and systematic and numeric analyses on these very varied masses of data. Working at the edge of what's known has been necessary often to develop new research methods, new laboratory methods, as well as new and novel ways of analysing data. And when the analysis is done, at times results have been highly reproducible and nonetheless utterly confusing because they've been inconsistent with what's expected, either when I set the experiments up or alternatively also with the established literature. And on those occasions, it's been necessary for me to exercise a sort of creative synthesis in order to reconcile my observations with what is known. And so this is how, of course, new discoveries are made, but it's a special kind of lifelong experience and training. And I really do think that these research-trained skills have been really valuable in all of the service responsibilities that I've accepted over the years. whether that be in committee service or in administrative roles, or most obviously, I suppose, in developing working papers and reports. In all of those settings, those research skills have been important. And that's not only in context of working inside of universities. All academics are expected to lend their expertise to the wider community, and I've played my role in that as well. And I've often been asked by community groups or by government, by political parties, by the media, to lend my expertise and my analysis. And throughout the entirety of my career, I've tried very hard to adhere to fundamental academic values that I believe are the bedrock of academia. So if you could use the support of an experienced senior academic who is also external and independent, you can approach me through Strongarch. In the meantime, I'd like to thank you for your attention and interest watching this video. Perhaps we'll be hearing from you soon.